Excuse me, Deborah, we now have 12 emails to read.
Okay, thank you, Jane. And it is 6 o'clock. We are going to call the meeting to order, and I will call the roll of commissioners in attendance. Commissioner Cahill.
Here.
Commissioner Elkin.
Here.
Commissioner Foxen.
Here.
Commissioner Heavenridge.
Here.
Commissioner Hauser.
Here.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Here.
Commissioner Bain Mulford.
Here.
Commissioner Newberg.
Here.
Commissioner Parker.
Here.
Commissioner Schneider.
Here.
Great, and we are all here. Let's see, and my screen has, there we go. Happy New Year, everyone. We are delighted to welcome the final member of our complement. Sam, do you want to say a few words? Welcome to the commission.
Well, thank you. My few words are, I'm happy to be here. Let's get going.
Thank you very much. Succinct as ever. All right. We are going to move to item, oh, I'm sorry. Let's see. We've taken the roll call. And Jane, help me. I thought the public comment was right in the beginning, or is that after the presentation?
No, we're just, as the agenda shows, we wanted to do the resolution right away.
Excellent. Well, then we're delighted to do the resolution. We are going to be honoring the Redwood Empire Food Bank, and that is item 3.1 in your agenda. And do you want to read the honor?
Be happy to. Jane, can you bring it up for us?
Bridget's in charge of it, but Bridget, if you could go to page 8, please.
Great, thank you very much. So, resolution honoring the Redwood Empire Food Bank. Whereas the Redwood Empire Food Bank has been a longtime partner of the Sonoma County Library, and whereas for many years, library branches gladly hosted food donation barrels to support the food bank's crucial mission of hunger relief, and the two organizations partnered on a Food for Fines program that increased library usage and food donations by library patrons. And whereas Lunch at the Library, a project of the California State Library, became an annual program in Sonoma County in 2015 and supplied almost 23,000 nutritious lunches to families at library branches in its first 5 years. And whereas this year, with library branches closed due to the pandemic and all community service providers pivoting to new ways of service, the library received a California State Library grant to purchase and supply almost 10,000 books to summer lunch locations in partnership with the food bank and other organizations. And whereas the food bank staff have been reliable, resourceful, and dedicated partners of library staff in serving those in need. Therefore, be it resolved by the Sonoma County Library Commission, recognizing the extraordinary community partnership between the Sonoma County Library and the Redwood Empire Food Bank.
We are also, thank you, Ann. We are also delighted to have David Goodman, who is the CEO of the Redwood Empire Food Bank, in the audience with us. And I'm not sure that he's close to a microphone, but Mr. Goodman, we really want to applaud your efforts and thank you very much. And we look forward to a continuing partnership. Are there any public comments on that? Are there any commission comments on that?
I would like to make a motion.
Yes.
I move by resolution that the Sonoma County Library Commission approve recognizing the extraordinary community partnership between the Sonoma County Library and Redwood Empire Food Bank as expressed in the resolution that Ann Hammond read.
I'll second.
Excellent. Anyone opposed? And I will have to read the commission roll again for the ayes and the nays. Commissioner Cahill,
Yes.
Andy Elkin,
Yes,
Rhys
enthusiastic.
Foxen, Rhys,
Absolutely, yes.
Commissioner Heavenridge, you have seconded, so I'm going to take that as a yes. And Commissioner Hauser, Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Mulford,
Yes.
Commissioner Newberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Parker,
Absolutely, yes.
Commissioner Schneider,
Yes.
and I'll make it unanimous. Again, we thank you very much. All right, and then we're going to move into a Brent's presentation about the Sonoma Valley Regional Library.
Hi, actually, this is from the Sonoma Valley Regional Library itself, as well as representing the Friends. So good evening, and thanks for the opportunity to address the commission. I'm Diana Spalding, and I've been the manager of Sonoma Valley Regional Library since May 2019. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about our branch today, and I think you're going to be receiving these presentations from probably at least one branch a month. So. To begin with, I'd like to tell you about the hardworking and dedicated staff at our library. Slide 2. We have a total of 8.5 full-time equivalent positions, 1.5 of which currently unfilled. For our reference staff, this is a picture of Claire O'Brien in the City Council chambers, and I'll explain that later. And more about that later. And then our branch added a teen services librarian in 2019 with Measure Y funding. And this is Sabine Salick. She's one of our bilingual English and Spanish speaking staff. Next slide, on the paraprofessional side, we have 2 half-time aides and 3 full-time library specialist positions, one of which is unfilled and one of which is our other bilingual staff person, Vanessa, who's English-Spanish speaker as well. So in addition to our staff, on the next screen, you'll see some photos of our beautiful library building, which was built in 1978 and upgraded in 2012. Many consider it a jewel of a library, and it's very successful as a third space for the public, offering a popular place for reading, studying, and offsite working. On the left-hand side, you see our main room and also our glassed-in teen room. So this enclosed teen space is unique to our branch, and it provides very useful group studying and some teen event space as well. The right-hand photo shows, again, our main room, and then our Jane Cundy reading room. This is a very elegant space that was named in honor of our library commissioner who served from 1988 to 2008. In addition to the winning building that we have, our library is really lucky to have a very active Friends of the Library group. In a normal year, they hold 8 popular and lucrative book sales. And they currently accept donations on Sunday afternoons. They got that going just as soon as they could this fall. And they continue to sell books online and raise money for the library. In addition, our Sonoma Valley Library Advisory Board has 8 members, including an active youth member, and they have oversight of the Jane Cundy Fund. The next screen, we'll talk about who our patrons are. There's a map on this page with little yellow dots that represent Sonoma Valley Library users. Other colored dots indicate users of other libraries. This is a real-time reflection of service area based on usage. So you can see that all the way from Highway 37 in the south up through Glen Ellen, it's pretty much all yellow. And then when we get into Kenwood, there's many different colors of dots reflecting the Kenwood residents' use of different libraries in our system. So the demographics of our service area really reflect a common pattern in Sonoma County. In the Valley, this is reflected in distinct geographic areas. So some neighborhoods in the Springs area, such as Fetter's Hot Springs, Agua Caliente, have over 50% Spanish-speaking homes and a significantly higher percentage of children in their populations. Whereas in the town of Sonoma, it's a much older population. In the Temelec neighborhood, it's a 55 and over enclave, and nearly 70% of the people there are over age 65. So you might wonder how the library serves this community. So on the next slide, you can see our library is really serves a community of readers. Our small branch normally hosts 3 book clubs a month. We see really healthy circulation numbers, and even in the curbside era, where our monthly average is over 50% of last year's monthly average circulation. Note that these numbers are the checkouts at the branch and also automatic renewals. So as you might expect, we have a medium-sized collection of popular materials that we keep well weeded and nicely displayed. And our branch has a small collection of materials by and about Jack London. Events. Our branch is normally really busy with well-attended events for kids, teens, and adults. The number of attendees that you see here, 14,000, includes the many people that we contact by school and community outreach efforts as well. One of the most popular kinds of events at our library are musical performances that we host in the main library. We often see over 100 people for these, and we clear out a large space in our main room because it doesn't fit in the forum room. Our distinguished author event with Lisa C. in February this year attracted more than 330 people. I think that was kind of a maximum for our branch. It was really crowded, as Barbara can attest. For curbside pickup, we average nearly 1,400 a month, and I think December was even higher than that. So what else is notable about the Sonoma Valley Library? On the next slide, I have some images. Patron appreciation is really one. Especially this year, the verbal and written expressions of appreciation from our patrons have been uplifting. We received many cards, such as this one, thanking us for keeping the library functioning during difficult times. Community support, you see in the top right hand, an image of Claire O'Brien, our children's librarian, receiving a cuckoo clock. In late 2019, 2 women, seen to the right of Claire in that photo, or on our right, Claire's left, 2 women nominated Claire for a Celebrate Sonoma Award, which the City Council bestowed in February this year. And that's why Claire was leading her Storytime song at the City Council chambers. Over 150 came out on March 3rd, which was Celebrate Miss Claire Day, to thank Claire for her decades of devotion to children. Of course, we are proud to serve all ages. And on the lower left there, that's a photo of one of our teen events. And we work hard to deliver services to children, teens, young adults, and seniors. And we partner with other organizations in town to really try to reach our diverse community. On the lower right, you see that's one of our musical events. There are other cultural events in our library as well, and we're really a cultural heart of the Sonoma Valley community. We work with many arts groups in towns, such as Art Escape and the DeRosa Center for Contemporary Art. And we host art exhibits in our forum room 6 times a year, which offer local artists a valuable space to show work. So of course, we always have opportunities for growth. And on the next slide, I'll show you some of those. There's a map on the left there. Circled is the Fetter's Hot Springs, Agua Caliente, and Boys Hot Springs neighborhoods. And below them, a little to the right, is the city of Sonoma. So this map was generated at the request of a recent Library Advisory Board member to explore the status of library usage in the Springs communities. And we found that it is much lower than among the residents of the city of Sonoma. We, of course, want to be the library that meets the needs of everyone in the Valley. So we see a number of options to increase active borrower rates. including perhaps the bibliobus that's coming in 2021. And something we're currently doing is expanding Wi-Fi outside of our library building. And this project is underway. We hope to have 24/7 Wi-Fi access throughout the parking lot and patio areas later this month to help address the digital divide. We're really grateful to our Library Advisory Board for funding this expansion. And then finally, of course, the pandemic offers us an ongoing challenge to pivot library services. The library overall has responded with curbside service, the expansion of e-resources, among other efforts. At the branch level, we've undertaken some creative outreach. We've been mailing flyers, publicizing curbside service to public housing and to laundromats in hopes to reach people who aren't yet using curbside service. We look forward to the Reimagining Strategic Plan to help us update and enhance library services as we continue to serve the Sonoma Valley. So if you have any questions, I'm here to respond. And thank you.
Thanks very much. Let's ask for any public comment first. Hearing none. Any commission comments? And I'm going to say again that Jaylene and Jane are both helping me identify people who have their hands up because I can't see your hands as I'm looking at the screen. Barbara.
Yes, hi, thank you. And thank you, Diana. That's a wonderful presentation. I'm looking forward to hearing these from all the libraries. I think it's great. I've been to a couple of really excellent events at the Sonoma branch, including the opening of the Kunde reading room, which was a wonderful reception, and a couple of the distinguished speaker events there, which were just excellent. I really think this is a super library and very appealing. I had a question and a comment. My question is actually two questions. One, I believe, did you say that the expansion of the Wi-Fi was paid for by the lab?
Yes, it was the lab approved funding from the Jane Kunde fund.
Okay, all right. So, because the labs only have that $500, I wondered how that would be spread
No,
there.
it costs more than that.
Yeah. And then my comment would be in terms of the demographics, maybe we could cite the reference when it says Sonoma is older and white. We're getting that from the census or what?
Yes, I looked at a number of figures from the American community surveys, for example, and it's definitely a larger number of, I think I have the figures right here in terms of the town of Sonoma and how many people over the, what the distribution, what the demographics are there. But the American Community Survey, the numbers came out, and it looks like in the city of Sonoma, there's 30% of the population over age 65. Whereas in the Springs area, it's more like 15% over the age of 65.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to suggest that maybe we just align in there about where this information came from.
Sure enough.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much. It was excellent.
Thanks, Barbara.
I have a quick
Look
question.
forward to hearing them about the rest of them. Andy?
Yes, Diana, thanks very much for the presentation. I also had a question about the expanded Wi-Fi. You mentioned, and first of all, I'm very excited that you're undertaking this. Look forward to having it implemented. I'm just wondering what you have seen or heard anecdotally about the community utilizing the Wi-Fi during the pandemic, because I've been reading stories about that in different sources. Is this? If you could just share with us any observations or conversations that you've had along these lines, I'd appreciate it.
Well, unfortunately, in the patio area, right outside the front of our building, Wi-Fi is not very good. Mm-hmm. So if I'm out there and I see people trying to use the Wi-Fi, which I do commonly, I mean, less often now during the pandemic, honestly, I don't go outside to talk to people so much. but I direct them around the parking lot side of the building, where we do have one picnic table, which has good Wi-Fi next to the building. And in fact, earlier in the pandemic, I saw a high school student there working like 4 afternoons a week. He'd be there for hours at a time when the weather was good. And I asked him if he wanted to borrow a hotspot because we did have some hotspots available this summer. And he has, and he does, but then he comes back and he still, wants to have that space also, I think. So.
Great.
That's great. Thank you.
I have a question. Are you noticing in the community other nonprofit groups or associations that are more visible during the pandemic?
Yes. The Sonoma Community Fund started a special project to respond to the pandemic. And they've been working with other nonprofits in town like Vintage House Senior Center and La Luz Community Center in the Springs to give grants for people who need money for, rent and things like that. So I know La Luz has been very active in that kind of effort. And Vintage House has changed a lot of their programs, and now they have food delivery service instead of, soup lunches at the senior center.
Mm-hmm.
So there has been a lot of response to the pandemic specifically.
And are you finding ways to partner with them? I guess that's the ultimate question.
Yeah, absolutely. In touch with La Luz about reaching out about our services. And also we did a project with Vintage House just last month.
Super. Commissioner Hauser, you had your hand up.
Somebody asked about how this information about the use of the Wi-Fi came to us. One thing was when we were interviewing for a student member of the lab, this very nice young high school student was forthright in saying that her family did not have internet at home. With the COVID, she didn't have access. There were 3 girls in high school age, I guess, at that time, trying to use whatever the school district provided for the family, but 3 people couldn't use it at once, and that they would come and park in the parking lot to use the Wi-Fi at times.
Mm-hmm.
So that really brought it home to us that this was something important that we should try to expand and make available in these difficult times.
Super. Thanks very much. Anybody else?
Deborah, can I ask one more quick question about the Friends donations? This is Barbara.
Okay.
The Friends of Rona Park Katati did a 1-day donation and were overwhelmed with the amount of books that were donated. It was a very small, it wasn't announced very widely. And I'm wondering how the Friends are dealing with a weekly donation, a weekly collection of donations, because it seems like that would really swamp them. And if it's okay, if those of us who live in other towns can bring our books over there.
You can, but it is by appointment.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Who do you call?
Very wise.
If you check the Friends of the Library website,
okay,
there's information about who to call.
Great. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thanks very much. And thank you for being the first, Diane, to make the presentation. We're looking forward to these for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and a lot of people helped get this together. So thanks to the marketing team, especially.
Excellent. Thanks very much. All right, moving on.
Excuse me, Deborah.
Comment.
I believe Karen has.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Karen. Please,
That's okay. I was actually having trouble figuring out where to raise my hand. It moved on me. That was an excellent presentation. I think it's very polished, very on point, and gave us the information we needed. And I'll also add, there's been a lot of press about Wi-Fi and library parking lots. So good use of data for decision making. And I'm really pleased to see you emphasize these services to people. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Commissioner Schneider. All right, we're going to move on to public comment, public appearances. And Jane, you have some letters and comments to read for us?
Yes, I do. I will start. There's about 12 tonight, last count, and some are longer than others, but they're all within the 250 word limit. So the first one is from Harry and Dee Richardson. They are saying these documents, this is concerning the Sonoma County Archives. These documents are irreplaceable and desperately need protection and preservation. They have been depleted and damaged over the years and have come too close to total loss. Please put them high on your list. The next one is from John Sheehy. Dear Library Commissioners, as a Sonoma County historian and writer, I wish to express my support for saving the Sonoma County Archives as referenced in the December 31st, 2020 Argus Courier letter to the editor from Catherine Reinhardt. Communities that lose their collective memory risk losing their sense of meaning and identity. Please don't let that happen to Sonoma County. Thank you.
Well, Karen Schneider said I'm on point with what they needed to know. Your mic's off, right? Oh, yeah.
Are we okay to continue?
Yes, please.
Okay. The next is from Thomas Corbett. He's to save the archives. Please do something in 2021 to save our extremely important archives. And that's from Tom Corbett. He's CTA and Petaluma 150th Celebration Committee Chair, including Petaluma Time Capsule. The next is from Lisa Lee on the Sonoma County Archives. She says the Sonoma County Archives need to be stored in diverse places. They are not at risk from one flood or fire. Funds should be set aside to store them properly and not all in one place. Do not risk our rich and irreplaceable history. The next is from Jack Withington, I believe it is, and this is for the archives. He says, save the Sonoma County Archives before time and the weather make them unreadable. Thanks, Jack Withington. The next is from Raymond Johnson. Hello, this is a letter concerning our endangered county archives, and we are submitting this as public comment. As archivist for the Sonoma County Historical Society, I strongly urge local officials to work to find a safe place for historic materials, safe from the dangers of fires and other natural disasters. Over the last quarter century, I have been pleased to see the increase in interest in local history in Sonoma County. The Sonoma County Historical Society, which was founded in the 1960s, has been pleased to see the growing interest in the topic over the last 50+ years. It has been noted that there are now more than 100 history-related groups in Sonoma County, even in less populated areas. It would be more than a shame to see basic research materials lost because we could not find a safe place for materials. Sincerely, Lee Torliat, Archivist, Sonoma County Historical Society. And this was sent in by Ray Johnson for Lee Torliat. The next was sent in by Stephen Lovejoy for Raymond Owen. Raymond says, Dear Library Commissioners, twice within the past 3 years, wildfires have gravely threatened to destroy the county archives building and its contents. Clearly, the facility should be relocated to a safer site. I am familiar with the records and items at the archives inasmuch as I am a library volunteer. I have assisted with librarians with shelving and retrieving materials. Many of the records are unique and can be found nowhere else. For instance, minutes of the Sonoma County Superior Court beginning in 1880 are neither duplicated nor replicated in any place else. A journal of the burial of indigent former soldiers, sailors, and Marines dating from 1889 is another unique item. Likewise, records of adoptions available with a court order are found at no other location. In other words, the archives and its contents represent a collective history of Sonoma County dating back to pre-statehood. I urge this Library Commission to give priority to finding a more secure location for the Sonoma County Archives and its irreplaceable holdings. Sincerely, Raymond L. Owen. The next is from Catherine Reinhardt for its public comment for this meeting. Dear Sonoma County Library Commissioners, the Sonoma County Library is the steward of 4 special collections, of which one is the Sonoma County Archives located at Los Guilicos. All 4 collections contain unique materials, assets no other library can claim. There is no question that library administration has responsibility for the management of these 4 collections, including the Sonoma County Archives. Most of the records housed at Los Guilicos are owned by the library. Deeds of gift and conditions of transfer from various Sonoma County departments as recent as 2019 make that clear. This one-of-a-kind collection has survived 2 fires within the last 3 years. The facility lacks environmental controls and fire protection monitoring, of which county and library staff are well aware. Because of its location, the collection is difficult to manage and only partially inventoried. The problems are known. What we need now are solutions. As co-chairs of the Advocates for the Sonoma County Archives Committee, we and our members are available to assist with archival consulting, outreach, and fundraising to ensure the future of the Sonoma County Archives. However, we need to know that you are committed to relocating the archives and improving management and access. The archives must be prioritized in the 2021-22 budget and the upcoming strategic plan. Thank you for your attention. Please contact us at socoarchives@gmail.com with any questions or to set up a meeting. Sincerely, Catherine Reinhardt, Lynn Downey, co-chair Advocates for the Sonoma County Archives. The next is from Lynn Prime, public comment. Dear Sonoma County Library Commissioners, as an archivist, parentheses, I am the Special Collections Librarian at Sonoma State University, and parentheses, I want to add my voice to the concerns expressed over the last number of years regarding the location of the Sonoma County Archives at Los Guilicos. In my dealings with researchers and scholars in our North Bay community, as well as around the world, I frequently refer people and make requests of the county archives myself to the vital collection of records housed at Los Guilicos. These unique materials are essential records of the history of our economy, our social interactions, and more. Preserving these resources matters not just to the library and to the county itself, but to all who seek to understand our North Bay and its place in history and in future decision-making about the lives, health, and safety of our communities. It is time, after all these years, to make 2021 the year that proper care is paid to these county archives for the sake of all who deserve to have access to the collection's materials. It is time to budget for a move of these materials to properly controlled, safe environment. Sincerely, Lynn Prime. The next is from Maggie Andrews about the archives. The glass fire forced us to evacuate out our Rincon Valley home. Although we didn't have much time to pack, our prior experience had prepared us to quickly grab the most important items. The Sonoma County Archives were threatened with this fire, and there is no way the important records could have been saved if the fire had not been stopped by our wonderful firefighters. We should learn from our prior experience that this location is in the path of danger. I moved to Sonoma County in 1970 to attend Sonoma State College. By the time I completed my degree, I had fallen in love with this area, its beauty, people, history, and resources. When I viewed the TV miniseries Roots in the early 1980s, I became interested in my family history. The Sonoma County Library became my introduction to a whole new world of research. I joined the Sonoma County Genealogical Society and have assisted in their mission, quote, to preserve, collect, compile, publish, and disseminate genealogical data and family history, end quote. As a society, we have transcribed or indexed a number of documents from the archives, making them more accessible to the public. As an individual, I have used several items from the archives in my research into local people and events. The records that are stored at Los Guilicos are irreplaceable. They deserve a better place for their safekeeping. Please put the relocation of the Sonoma County Archives at the top of your budget and agenda. Thank you, Maggie Andrews. The next is from Carol Eber, and she gives a copy of the letter to the editor that was published in the Press Democrat on Sunday, January 3rd, regarding the protection of the county archives that the Sonoma County Public Library has responsibility for. I will go ahead and read that excerpt from the paper. Newspapers are invaluable for digging into local history. Having ancestors who came to Sonoma County in 1844, I have come to value the information about them to be found in our newspapers. I have also found information in the Sonoma County archives, probates, land grants, marriage licenses, and more. While these documents are from my own personal knowledge, there are many who dig into these records for professional purposes. The Sonoma County archives contain official records of deeds, mortgages, wills, and probate records, assessments of property, voter registration, oaths of office, surveys, maps, corporation records, business licenses, and more. It includes official records of Sonoma County schools, businesses, and the library itself, which is in charge of the county archives. In capital letters, wildfire warning. The Sonoma County archives are located at Los Guilicos. Most records stored there are not digitized. The past two wildfires came to the edges of the building that houses these documents. Sonoma County history could have gone up in flames if it weren't for the valiant effort of our firefighters. It is time to relocate the archives to preserve and protect them. Our Board of Supervisors, the Library Administration, and the Library Commission must put this on their agenda and take action before the next wildfire. A better location must be found for the archives. Carol Eber in Petaluma. And the last is from Janet Graysick. Dear Sonoma County Library Commissioners, we all understand that the Sonoma County Archives contains many irreplaceable and valuable documents. What is hard to understand is how there is not a plan yet to rehouse the archives in a safer location with a long-term goal of cataloging the contents. We urge the Commission to make every effort towards this necessary goal. Thank you. Regards, Janet and Todd Graysick. And that's all.
Thanks very much, Jane. And thank you to everyone who wrote to us. We also are concerned about the archives. We appreciate your interest. And of course, we will be thinking about this and talking about it in future meetings. Our next item, Library Advisory Boards, the Sonoma County Public Library Foundation, and Friends of the Library.
Excuse me, I have one comment too.
We're not taking, is that someone from the public or is that?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. And who is it?
Stephen Lovejoy.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Steve Lovejoy. I've been before this commission before, just after the 2017 fires that swept over the Sonoma County Archives. I've talked with several of you and I know several of you. I am on the Historical Records Commission, and I'm also president of the Sonoma County Genealogical Society. You've just heard 12 different letters addressed to the Library Commission, and I hope that you take them to heart. Rhys Foxen is the Library Commission liaison to the Historical Records Commission, and we had given her a packet of materials to distribute to the commission. Was that done, Rhys?
I don't know that I received the packet. And if I missed it, I apologize. No, it has not been dispensed.
Okay, well, before the next commission meeting, we will make sure that you have it in your hands so you can distribute it to the commissioners.
Thank you, and I'll double check that just to make sure that we're all on the same page. I'm sorry.
Okay, in any case, so I have a couple comments, actually some suggestions for the Library Commission that since the Library Commission turns over every 2 years, depending on who's in and out of the commission members, one suggestion concerning the archives is that when it's safe to go out to the archives, that you make a trip out there and you look at them yourself to see the destruction all around and to see the conditions that the documents and the bound volumes are being kept in. Second concerns the library commission or the library budget you're going to be talking about for this next year. I would hope that you would make the inventory for the archives, which was scheduled to happen last year but got cut because of COVID, that you put this back in the budget and you make it a priority that this gets done so that we have a good inventory of what's out there and what has a backup copy and not. I would tell you that I would imagine more than 80% of the materials out there do not have backup copies. They have not been microfilmed or digitized. They are unique. And if they're lost in another fire, then we won't have them ever. The other thing about the budget is that the manager of the History and Genealogy Library position that Catherine Reinhardt held until February of last year, that's been taken out of the budget and been put on hold. I would urge the Library Commission, when they're going through their budget, to try to restore that position as soon as possible. It's really the only person in the library system that has a day-to-day knowledge of what's in the archives and how the archives works and can be an advocate for the archives. And the last item I'd like you to address also is that I know that you're coming and making a strategic plan for the next couple of years. I would urge you to move the location or the relocation of the archives up to a very high priority in that strategic plan. We really cannot afford to have another wildfire and to lose the archives. The Historical Records Commission and the Sonoma County Genealogical Society standing by here to help you in any way that we can. If you'd like to reach out to me or I'll reach out to you, please do so. We want to be a collaborator with you and to save the archives and save our Sonoma County history. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Lovejoy. Any other public comments? All right, moving on. We are, I believe, going to have a report from the foundation.
Good evening, commissioners. Nice to see you all. Happy New Year. I'm going to share just a very short PowerPoint presentation. I'm from the Sonoma County Public Library Foundation. We provide funding to ensure equitable access to Sonoma County Library services. I think you all know that, but there's a new face. Hi, Sam, who was on our board and now on the Commission. We look forward to working with all of you in this coming year. First off, I just want to say thank you. We had an event in December, a virtual event, Painting with Words, storytelling for all ages, and several of you attended or donated. And I want to say thank you for your support. Thank you for anybody who emailed it out to friends or promoted it on Facebook or all of the ways that you supported us. We really appreciate it. We had a good turnout, and we want to say a big thank you to Terry Sloat, a local artist and author who did a fantastic job. If you weren't able to watch the not performance, but if you weren't able to watch the program, then I really encourage you. We have a YouTube channel just like the library. The foundation has a YouTube channel, and I will email out the link and you can watch it at your leisure. Terry Sloat is a huge library supporter, a book lover, and just a really warm person. She really jumps through the screen. And we also have to say thank you. This print that you see to the right is called Renewal, and she actually donated a print to be raffled off at the event, which just so happened we raffled it off to the participants, and Sue Fajita from, I believe, the Sebastopol Friends won the print. So, and she actually knew Terry coincidentally, but that was a cool moment for the program. But thank you for everybody who attended and for supporting us, and thank you, Terry Sloat, for your wonderful, wonderful program. Coming up in 2021. This year looks different for us, as I know it does for you as well. We started doing virtual events last year. We did 2, and we are thinking about maybe doing more. We're going to be discussing that this Thursday, but I just want to say thank you to all of the commissioners who contributed to our year-end campaign and to our special events, the Painting with Words and the I Love Chocolate event. Your support really makes the difference, both when you email it out to friends and you donate online. All of those things make a huge difference. Our year-end campaign is focused on expanding Wi-Fi from all the library branches. So we heard about that happening at Sonoma Valley. That's already been taken care of by the lab and the Jane Kunde Fund, but and the Windsor Regional Library, I believe, is already taken care of. But the foundation donated $40,000 in November to start the other branches, and we were trying to raise $30,000 at the end of this year to get to all of the branches. I haven't heard yet. We don't have a final count for our end of the year campaign yet, so I don't know if we've made the cut, but I will by next month. And we are hoping to partner with friends groups at each branch if they're able to help cover costs for the Wi-Fi expansion as well. Just as you all know, Wi-Fi is really a basic utility now, and if we can provide that for people, we want to be able to help provide more digital access and digital materials. So that's kind of really our focus right now. And our focus as a board is on recruitment. We, as you know, Sam McBain-Wolford joined the commission, and so we have some openings on our board. We are open to ideas if you know anybody who would like to join our board, or even join or even help out with special events or in a limited capacity. We are definitely looking into that. People joining just for committees and not for, you know, an entire board term. And that's really it from me. I will send out an email to all of you with information for our YouTube if you would like to watch the program. And thank you so much.
Thanks very much, Ms. Ortiz. Now, if someone has a recommendation for a member of a committee or a member of the board, should they touch base with you?
Yes, feel free to email me, or if you know somebody, I know several of you know people on the board personally, such as Helena Whistler, who was previously on the commission. Feel free to reach out to her as well. We're pretty, there's no no big hierarchy. We're pretty egalitarian. So feel free to reach out to me. My email is president@scplf.com, and I will email all of you right now so you'll have it. But also, if you know somebody else on the board and you prefer to reach out to them, that's fine as well.
Super. Thanks very much. Any public comment? Hearing none. Any commissioner comments?
Sarah, I love how you are pivoting and moving forward with kind of the nascent little strategic planning conversation we had some time ago. And you know, we at least get a mission out of that. And I hope that continues to guide the board in terms of, you know, identifying the priorities and what's important, and being very open to just trying things out. And it's not spaghetti against the wall, but it's it's more about just, you know, being flexible about trying things and understanding that taking small risks can sometimes create huge rewards, right?
It is an ongoing discussion. As many of you know, last January, we decided to really focus on capital campaigns. And then obviously in March, all the libraries closed, and it was a little bit harder to focus on capital campaigns since we can't have an event at the library or, anything that might excite people about that possibility. And so we are still interested in capital campaigns and moving in that direction and building our capacity to do that. But we also recognize that there's a need for digital access and digital materials right now. So kind of having that flexibility to figure out what does the library need right now.
Right, it's that whole pivot thing. Glad to hear that you're doing that well.
Thanks very much. Anybody else?
We have Commissioner McKenzie.
Yeah, I just wanted to compliment Sarah. I very much enjoyed both the events, both of the virtual events, and in the 6 years that I've been on the commission, you are the person who have kept the foundation in front of us, in front of the commission. We never used to have, as regular, participation from the foundation and stuff. So I really applaud you for keeping, the name of the Sonoma County Public Library Foundation in front of us and in front of the public. I think you're doing a really good job at that. Thank you.
That's very kind. Thank you.
Anybody else? Great, thank you very much. It is interesting that all over the country, foundations and friends are still working, even though their libraries are closed. They are still raising money in some very interesting campaigns. So you are certainly one of the interesting campaigns here. Thanks very much. Moving on, library reports. And you want to talk to us about library reports?
I do. So you will see from your packet the management reports. Our staff has been doing a wonderful job in the past month, looking at the circulation of physical items checked out through curbside and the digital items. The total circulation for the month is about 56% of what it was at this same time last year. And that's just phenomenal. Nobody can even come inside the building, and yet we're doing 56% of the circulation. So that really speaks to the work that our staff is doing, not only to curate the materials, to select them, to put them together, to offer them, the whole package. And the community is really appreciative of what we've been able to offer. Programming is doing really well as well. And looking at new patrons, we can see that we are continuing to add new people who have not previously had a library card, and that's a very gratifying thing. Looking through the other management reports, just skimming a few things here and there. Facilities, I wanted to mention the winterizing that is mentioned there. Preventive maintenance for the winter. That includes things, of course, like checking the boiler, adjusting the thermostats, cleaning the gutters, and checking the exterior lighting, making some adjustments there for the fact that it is getting dark a lot earlier now. So there are a lot of things that go on behind the scenes to keep the libraries moving and to keep these services in front of the public. And I just want to highlight that. Also for Roseland, we're moving right along with that project. We have opened the bids today and selected a contractor, and you'll be hearing more about that. We'll schedule a special meeting so that you can approve the acceptance of that bid. So look for that coming soon in your email. That's about all I've got in terms of the management report. There's so much here, and I do urge you to read all of the detail of it. And I'm happy to take any questions that you might have.
Any public comment on this?
Chair Doyle.
Mm-hmm.
We have a public comment, Stephen Lovejoy.
Mr. Lovejoy, go ahead.
I just have two questions for Anne. Under Sonoma County Archives, the archives have been basically off limits to library staff because of cleaning issues. The last I heard, you were going to be doing another testing. And what is the results of that testing, and when can library staff get back into the building?
Staff are allowed to be in the building. The archives building was cleaned by county staff. We wanted to make sure that there were no particulates or other matter that might be hazardous to their health, but there was no indication of such. And so we have been given permission to re-enter the building.
That's great news. So does that mean that if a member of the public requests from the librarians of the History and Genealogy Library for an item to be retrieved so that they can look up something, then that's going to happen?
That should be able to proceed, yes.
Okay. And the other question I have is that you mentioned this task force meeting.
Mm-hmm.
When are the plans? What kind of plans do you have for meeting again?
We have not set another date yet, but we'll be following up very soon.
Any other public comments? Any commission comments?
Excuse me, Chair Doyle. Would you want to mention right at this point, following Ann's talk about the Roseland project, that commissioners should expect a doodle poll in their email tomorrow morning, just to be confirming that.
Okay, I think you just made them aware of that.
Okay.
Any commission comments on Ann's report?
Yes. This is Dave. I looked at the physical checkouts circulation figures, and I'm thrilled to see that we are now at 35%, what we were last year, unless my calculator has blown a fuse. I never thought this figure would get above 30%. So congratulations to you and the staff, and we'll continue to improve as we improve the return capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Amid all of the attachments and all the documentation, you will find that staff has created a roadmap, and I think that it's an interesting way to, in addition to all of the detailed work that staff does and that we take a look at, I think it's a wise thing to look forward, to look down the road. And so if you have suggestions about the roadmap, take a look and make some suggestions. I think that it's a first draft. It's an iterative process, and there may be some things that are even at a broader scale that we should be including in the roadmap. But I think it's an important reminder that this is not a month-to-month thing, that we're trying to build the system into a stronger resource for the community. All right. Is Randy going to walk us through the budget and finance report, or Elkind, are you doing that?
I'm sorry.
Chair Doyle?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. We have Commissioner Schneider and Commissioner McKenzie.
Oh, sorry. Commissioner Schneider.
Thank you. And thank you for reminding me. I wanted to especially call out the roadmap. What an excellent presentation of goals and deliverables for the year. And I hope we will continue to see this, and I will put some thought to it, but I just am delighted to see this effort. Good
Ray
job.
deserves a lot of applause for that. Commissioner McKenzie.
Yes, I was along the same lines. I really like seeing this. It makes us feel organized, those are these big topics. I did have a particular question. I was glad to see the contact with elected officials was on there. And I wondered if there was anything particular for May and August, why they were scheduled then, or is it just kind of the available, less crazy time? And
National Library, sorry to interrupt. National Library Legislative Day is often in May, and that's probably part of it.
But is this local elected officials, like our JPA partners? Or are you talking about different elected officials?
All levels.
Okay.
All levels. And it's also as we're developing the budget. So I think that those kinds of things are very important.
Right. Is there a plan for what kind of, how those meetings with local elected officials, what that would look like?
Not yet.
Okay.
But we're certainly welcoming participation.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? All right, moving on to budget and finance. And is Randy going to do that, or is Commissioner Elkind, are you going to walk us through this?
I don't know if Randy is with us this evening. Yes, he is.
I believe he is.
Yes, he is. Great. Randy, would you like to discuss the financial reports?
Or Commissioner Elkind, if you wish to step in, it's.
I'm happy to make a few comments. The financial reports that appear in the packet are those that were reviewed and discussed at the Finance Committee meeting on December 21st. So we had a chance to go over them in detail, and Randy was very helpful in answering our questions. I'm not going to try to repeat all of the detailed information. From a big picture perspective, you'll see that there were some adjustments to the first page of the report because the revenues that we received in July and August for sales tax were actually revenues that were well, the July, what we received in July was actually revenue that was collected from the month of May, and August was revenue that was collected from the month of June. And so that money was transferred back into the prior year budget appropriately. Even so, our sales tax revenue has continued to run ahead of our projections, which is good news. Obviously, we're eager to see what the first property tax collections were in the month of December, and we'll be doing that at the upcoming meeting. Apart from that, in general, we seem to be in good shape. There are a few expense items that are outrunning the budget, and as was noted in the Finance Committee report, which appears later, we're going to take a look at those offline. I'll be meeting with Director Hammond and with Chair Doyle prior to the Finance Committee meeting so that we can have some recommendations around a budget revision now that we're at mid-year. We also had a request, and this appears in the notes from the Finance Committee also by Commissioner Hauser, that we take a closer look at funds and grants. You know, where we have received gifts and donations, we need to be able to track where that money has been allocated and spent. Randy and his team are going to be taking a deeper dive into that over the month ahead, and look forward to a more detailed report this coming month. But in general, we had been pretty conservative in estimating sales tax revenue and had adjusted the budget accordingly. And so I think that for the moment, things seem to be on a pretty good track. We'll make some revisions in the coming month.
Thanks very much, Commissioner Elkind. Any commission comments? Oh, I'm sorry. Any public comments first? I'm seeing no hands. And any commission comments from people who were not on the Finance Committee first?
We have Commissioner Schneider.
Commissioner Schneider?
Thanks, Andy. Very clear report. I like that. I enjoyed reading it too. On the contributed revenue, aka donations, how many funds do we have? Do we know? I mean, is it like a couple dozen? I'm not looking for a precise number, but I mean, is there like a general fund and then a few more specific funds, or?
There are actually lines for each Friends group and for the foundation, and then for particular grants that we might receive. And then my understanding is they all kind of roll up into the gifts and donations line. And Randy, you can correct me if I'm misunderstanding that.
Hi, this is Randy. I apologize for not being able to jump on earlier. I was having some mic issues apparently. Yes, your statement that you just made is correct. Everything rolls up into what you see as the Gifts and Donations Fund. And as previously mentioned, I am currently working on trying to come up with a reconciliation by donor that does tie into the amounts that were reported in the last financial audit, and to also bring those numbers up to date. I hope to have something on that by the end of this month.
Thanks, Randy.
Super. Anybody else? David, did I see your hand up?
No.
Sorry. I saw the phone number. All right, then moving on, we will, I lost my place here. Oh yes, commission reports. Does anyone have anything to add to their commission reports?
We have Commissioner Foxen.
Commissioner Foxen.
I would just like to apologize. I didn't turn in any of the reports this time. I just blew the date completely. So, but typical, I mean, I went to the libraries, you know, the post-election thing, and I observed the finance meeting. I went to the advocacy, et cetera, et cetera. So it was a pretty standard month, but I do need to apologize because nothing was written for either that or my liaison for HRC. So I apologize. I did not drop dead or anything extraordinary like that.
Commissioner Foxen, we are shocked, but we also recognize that you have never missed a report in your entire time on the commission. So we will give you leeway this time.
Well, thank you.
That's right. Anyone else have comments or additions to their reports? I see no hands. Let's see. And then Commissioner Elkins, again, Finance Committee report. Anything to add? Anything to talk to us about?
Nothing to add to what I've already said. Happy to answer any questions.
Mm-hmm. All right. Seeing
Commissioner Doyle, real quick.
Yeah.
Sam.
Sure.
I am a little remiss. I think the holidays kind of got in the way. I have been tasked with, in joining the commission, tasked with identifying a citizen in Sonoma County to serve on the Measure-wide Oversight Committee.
Mm-hmm.
And am having a little bit of a difficult time identifying an individual. I've circled back to a couple of people, and so I'm just wondering if we could tap some of the talent in the room to see if anybody has a sense of someone who would be willing to meet with that committee once a month and do the work of that committee in terms of providing oversight to the use of and the accounting of the Measure Y funds.
We will get some suggestions to you. How about that?
That'd be great. I also did reach out to Supervisor Gorin as she's the individual who, the supervisor who had appointed me to see if she had, because it's broadly available from, I mean, there's no jurisdiction here. It's Sonoma County wide that we could tap from. So I'm hoping, I mean, we need to do this in the very near future.
Mm-hmm. And I will send along a suggestion.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other reports that need adding to? Commissioner Heavenridge, are you? Hearing none? All right.
Unmute. So no, there really isn't anything other than I did attend the Petaluma Lab, Library Lab, and of course the Advocacy Committee's been taking up some time, so that's good. That'll be further on in the agenda.
All right. Let's see. Well, actually, that's where we are. We're at the Advocacy Committee report. Is that right?
All right, I'll unmute myself and start on that. The commissioners can see we have a number of attachments to the report and along with the minutes. And I think I won't go into the minutes much other than you see that we do have the calendar for commissioners set up so we can put our activities up as ambassadors for the library. And I know this has been hard to do during COVID here. And I think Commissioner McKenzie said that in one of her emails that she would have it filled up every day, except for COVID has stopped her dead in her tracks here about doing all the wonderful things she does in the community. But I do want to note that Rano and from on our staff and Jane have both did a great job of getting this calendar together. And if you have any questions, I think it's please ask Jane about it and how to operate it and include your activities. And that would be great if everybody could do that, because that's a real diary of what we're doing. And it also affords us to go to some of the things if we know ahead of time that some of the other commissioners are interested in going to. And then the other documents, I'll briefly go through those. We did include finalize, which we've been talking about for a while, but the Advocacy Committee roles and responsibilities. And the reason I think this is important to look over again is we need to know what we as commissioners are doing and what our roles and responsibilities are, and especially in the committees that we're on. So I think this is an important document to for future Advocacy Committee members and for the commission to know what we're doing. So I think this is a good document. And then I've also included the American Library Association a document on the omnibus and COVID-19 relief bill summary. And just to highlight a few of the things, $257 million in funding for the Institute of Museum and Library Sciences has been put in the bill, which is a $5 million increase. And we've afforded ourselves through the state LSTA monies, grants, some of these funds. So this is important to know. And as I think we've discussed wanting to go after more grants. So this is certainly a good one to go after on a state level. So just wanted to point that out. So that was good. And then let's see, the other document in the packet is the California Library Association legislative priorities for 2021. And And a couple of key points there was the full registration of the California Library Services Act back to $3,630,000. And that's to help the sharing of all the electronic and physical items among all libraries. They put $1.25 million in the lunch at the library, which I believe we take advantage of. Is that not true, or is that something we want to do? Anne, would you know that?
We have been doing lunch at the library. Obviously, this year we couldn't actually serve lunches at the library. So our participation was that we provided books for the lunch sites to include in the meals that were served to the children.
That's great. And that comes out of this this fund. That's great. And so that's really important nowadays. And we've been talking all about Wi-Fi and broadband and equitable access for California communities. So that's one of the priorities this coming year is equitable I can't even talk, access to the critical library and information services. And there is in the budget coming from the feds, there is money for that. So the broadband equity for California communities includes Wi-Fi and lendable hotspots and broadband to support education and workforce development and community well-being, which the library, of course, which was what we're doing. And also the question for that, are we accessing those funds for the broadband equity for California communities? Have we got any money from that or applied for anything?
Yes, we have.
Good. Okay. So that's the advocacy report. We're really trying to keep on top of what's going on. And it was suggested by Chair Doyle that once a year we talk to our elected officials about the library, and that we need to do that more than once a year. We need to really keep in touch of what we're doing and what's on the table up there in Sacramento. And so that's one thing we'll be looking in at, and as the advocacy committee, we'll be looking into that to expand that connection in the future. So is there any questions? No questions. Okay, there's my report. A little longer than I thought I was going to do, but anyway.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. Commissioner Hauser, do you have anything to add to your foundation liaison report?
No, there's nothing. It's all there.
Okay. We are delighted to see the new members to the Measure Y Oversight Committee. They both have strong backgrounds. Very exciting. Do either of you have anything to add to that? All right, then. Is there any public comment on the committee and liaison, the commissioner committee and liaison reports? And no commissioner comments either. All right. We do not have any lab appointments this time, so we're going to move to the consent calendar. These matters include routine financial and administrative actions that may be approved by a consensus of the commission. Any commission members or member of the public may request that an item be removed from the calendar and have it placed within the action item with our action item. Sorry, the commission will approve the minutes of the prior meetings in summary format. So does any commissioner want any of these items removed and discussed separately?
I'd move adoption of the consent calendar.
I've got to ask for the public also. Anybody from the public want anything pulled?
I don't think they can.
No, I don't see any. However, I did want to also mention that Commissioner Hauser had his hand up as well.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Hauser.
I was going to move, but if Barbara moves, I second the approval of the consent calendar.
Fabulous. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, I will take the roll. Commissioner Cahill,
Yes.
Commissioner Elkin,
Yes.
Commissioner Foxen,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavenridge,
Yes.
Mr. Hauser,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Mulford,
Yes.
Commissioner Newberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Parker,
Yes.
Commissioner Schneider.
Yes.
I'll make it unanimous. Thank you very much. All right. And now we're going to, moving down to 11, we are going to talk about legal services for the county. As you know, we've been interviewing some law firms. So, Anne, do you want to walk us through this, or is Suzanne going to walk us through this?
Either one is fine. I can get it started and Suzanne can kick in.
Please do.
We had a committee composed of Chair Doyle and Vice Chair Hauser and myself and Suzanne. We interviewed 3 different law firms and did some follow-up interviews with a couple of them, and then made a selection. We have chosen the firm of Chronic from Sacramento. And I think they will be a very good selection to give us general counsel services, as well as personnel and union negotiations, et cetera. So Suzanne, would you like to add anything to that?
No, I think that you've said it pretty succinctly. I mean, we looked at the qualifications and price and ability to provide services, and they were the best firm representing public agencies.
Mm-hmm.
Any comments from the public? Commissioner comments? Commissioner Cahill.
Hauser.
We have Commissioner Hauser, we have Commissioner McKenzie, and I believe we do have a couple public comments as well.
All right, then we'll have to take the public comments first.
All right, we have a Jeff Mitchell and a Philip Wright.
We don't actually have any comments.
Of course.
Sorry, we've just been lurking here, watching the meeting. So if you have any questions for us, we're happy to participate. I'm on, Phil Wright's on. Phil would be the primary labor negotiator if you approve the contract.
Thank you for coming. Commissioner Hauser, you had something to say.
Yes, the people say, why are you picking somebody from Sacramento? Well, we were picking people from Sacramento. The other firm that we were serious about was from San Francisco, East Bay, South Bay, and it's just about the same distance. So we didn't really think that was a factor. The Chronic firm has slightly lower hourly rates, so that was a factor also. We felt very comfortable with Mr. Mitchell and his compatriot who's going to do the labor work. And we just felt very comfortable with them. Thank you.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Yes, I just wanted to say it was a very comprehensive amount of material that we got, and I was really pleased to see the vast experience of this firm and the comprehensive services that they can provide, especially having dealt with JPAs. I was really impressed by that. And also the ability to also do the labor negotiations and work on collective bargaining and so forth. I did want to say that we probably wouldn't have considered Sacramento in the past, but since we're doing so much stuff virtually, it makes a lot of sense. And I also, when I joined the commission 6 years ago, the county was providing legal services. The county then decided not to help us with legal services. And so we hired Ann Keck. And I just wanted to publicly thank Ann for her service to the commission over these past few years. But I'm impressed by the selection. I thank the committee for their work on this. It looks like they've done a great job.
You anticipated my thanks to Ann Keck. Thank you. There was another commission comment?
No, I think that was it. Oh, Commissioner Hauser.
I would like to make a motion. May I?
Please.
I move that the Sonoma County Library Commission approve the consent. Oh, wait a minute. I lost it. Okay, I move that we enter into negotiations to complete a contract with the Cronic firm.
Do I hear a second?
Second. Second.
All right, I will. There's my roll sheet. You would think I would have this memorized by now. All right, Commissioner Cahill.
Yes.
Commissioner Elkin.
Yes.
Foxen.
Yes.
Commissioner Havenridge.
Yes.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Yes.
Commissioner Mulford.
Yes.
Commissioner Newberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Parker.
Yes.
Commissioner Schneider.
Yes.
And I will make it unanimous, but we did talk to a local firm also who was very good. Just wanted to say that. Let's see. All right. Then it is unanimous, and welcome aboard, gentlemen. Thank you for coming to the commission meeting.
That was enjoyable. We're looking forward to it.
That's great. All right. And now we are going to, I assume that was what the discussion meant, Jane? Item 12?
The discussion is there in case something is moved and needs to be discussed. That was just a placeholder.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, sorry. I should know this by now. All right, then we are going to be moving into closed session. And thank you, everybody, for your patience.
We just, excuse me, Commissioner Doyle, we are waiting for one other person to log in really quick.
All right.
So it may take a minute.
Is that person to be included in the closed session?
Yes.
And what is their name, please?
That would be Julie Marquis.
Oh, okay.
She should be on in just a minute. Thank you.
I suppose we could say this is still discussion, and if anybody wants to discuss something, we can, we can do that, but not really if it's not on the agenda.
Rana, she's here now.
I assigned her already.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hi, Suzanne. Should I close the breakout
Oh, yeah,
room?
yes, you can.
Okay, Ronald, are
Okay.
you going to turn on the recording? Thank you.
Jane, let me know when we're all here.
Let's see.
Got another 15 seconds.
Oh, thanks very much.
Thank you for waiting till they all get back.
Thank you.
Here we are.
Oh, okay.
You've been beamed up.
I thought it was down.
Well, depends on your attitude, Tom.
There you go.
I know. That's why I said it.
Ronald, is everyone back?
Yes, everyone's back.
Okay, go ahead, Chair.
And here we are at the city on the edge of forever. All right, we are going to reconvene, and there was no reportable action taken in our closed session, which then means that we are to the agenda items for future commission meetings. Does anybody have any suggestions? Commissioners?
Yeah, this
We
is
will-
Barb. Chair. I'm sure that this is already planned, but certainly an update on the archives.
Of
would be-
course.
even if there's not much information, but we need to keep the public informed. Thank you.
That's why it was an Ann's report today. Anybody else?
Special item, I think, agenda item.
I'll keep it on as a standing item.
Apparently every month. All right, anybody else?
I just wanted to say that I did have an opportunity to speak to Steve, and his last name was Lovejoy, is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so he had reached out and you know, as a brand new commissioner, I think that he has been reaching out to others as well. And so we had a conversation, and I was able to just listen a lot and try to come up to speed. And some of what we talked about and some of what I had to offer in terms of, I think that the strong-armed approach towards just kind of demanding that something happens, I think that ideally, if we could find ways to sit down with individuals who have this kind of passion around the archives and look at some coalition building that makes this a problem that isn't the library's problem and it isn't the county's problem, because neither the library or the county can really solve this problem alone, right? So that it's maybe potentially a broader coalition building around entities and maybe even potential funders. So I'm, you know, I think that we have very passionate people in support of the archives. They're very concerned about their safety, right? And so I would love for us to try to revisit the archives in some way that makes sense. And Deborah, I'm not sure what that looks like in terms of, is it at an actual commission meeting? Is it not necessarily need to be a closed session? Is there some sort of a working session type environment that we can create? And so I'm just curious as to how we can get to a point where we're in conversation with each other rather than people making demands about what it is that the library should be doing, when maybe it's not, you know, about the library should be doing. So
that's certainly going to be part of it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? So it is that time of year again, and we're going to be doing a performance review of the director. And so this year, the members of the committee are going to be Commissioner Hauser as vice chair, Commissioner Schneider, and myself. I also think that we need to take another look at the bylaws and the leases just to get a sense of, we can separate them, but I think we need to take another look at the leases and see where we are with those. We had some bylaws revisions that we were recommending, and I think we probably need to take a look at those, see if we need to change any of those, and bring them back to the commission, or reconvene a separate committee. And then we had a policies and procedures committee. I think we need to probably tackle that again. So I'll be reaching out to some of you to see if you're willing. And if you're interested in serving on some of those committees, please let me know. And with that, do I see any raised hands? I don't think so.
No.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I meant to say no raised hands.
Okay, thanks very much. Then we will be meeting on Monday, February 1st. We will probably be having a special meeting before that, but we'll send out a poll and let you know and let the public know. But otherwise, the next official commission meeting will be Monday, February 1st. Thank you. And does anybody object to adjourning?
Chair Doyle, I see Commissioner Heaven raised hand up.
Oh, I was just waving goodbye. I the meeting.
Thanks. You're giving everybody a heart attack, Paul. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank
you. Thank you,
Thanks,
Chair
Jane.
Doyle.
Thanks, Jane.
Thanks, Jane.
Thanks, Barbara.